Now speaking with Harold Ramis.
Once Animal House was a hit, I moved to LA with no struggle. People were waiting for us outside the screenings of Animal House. Could we have a meeting with you? Here's my card. Call me anytime.
So that was it?
Yeah. When I speak at film schools, how do you get an agent? They say, I got my agent because I was having lunch in the Universal Commissary with the vice president of the studio. And I said, do you think I should have an agent? He said, yeah, probably. Who'd be good? He said, well, that guy'd be pretty good. That's Sam Adams. So I said, all right.
That's a pretty handy way to get an agent.
When you have a hit film, you leapfrog past most of what people spend their early years worrying about.
Where's your relaxation place?
My relaxation place is deep inside me, where no one can get at it. Travel is not necessarily about relaxing. It can be a real hassle.
Yeah.
I did a whole movie about that once, Club Paradise. I read an article in Psychology today about resorts. And people pick a resort from a brochure, and if it's in a third world country, they arrive and they're like terrified. And the moment they get off the plane, they see all these foreign faces, and everyone's yammering at them, trying to grab their luggage, and they feel they're going to be cheated any moment, until they get to the resort where they feel safe.
Right.
But then they're afraid to leave the resort. You go to Montego Bay in Jamaica, and you hear, oh yeah, 2 tourists were murdered last night. You know, is that relaxing? I don't know. So there's the whole article in Psychology Today was about the cognitive dissonance between what you imagine and what's going to happen. As I've said to people, I've been miserable in some of the most beautiful places on earth. I just had an MRI. Did you ever have an MRI? You lie down, you cannot move, you have to keep your hands at your sides, and they slide you into, it's like going into suspended animation. It's a tube, the top of which is right here. Sometimes they put a towel over your face so you don't open your eyes because you'll freak out. And you're in there for 40, 45 minutes, right? So relaxing in there, I thought, well, I'll probably sleep. Well, you're not going to sleep because that noise is horrible. I'm not a claustrophobic person, but I'm not usually inserted into a tube barely bigger than my body, you know? So I thought, oh man, I might freak out. And some people have to be tranquilized to do it. So I started meditating. I started saying every Buddhist mantra that I know, and I recycled them. And I noticed that some of them fit better with the rhythm of the machine when it was going in different cycles, so I would switch the mantras. I can't say I was relaxed, but, you know.
Now you've been in film and comedy for a long time now. How do you think comedy has evolved from then to today? And do you think it's better, or do you think it's worse?
I'm not sure it's evolved. I think it's cultural. You know, you can't say something is comic if people aren't laughing. So a lot of comedy works because you're violating people's expectations. Well, the expectations of one generation are way different from the expectations of another.
What is the nature of comedy today then?
It's hard to surprise people today, especially young people.
Yeah.
Because propriety there's no propriety.
Doesn't exist.
To actually make people laugh, they have to be surprised. You have to violate some expectation, whether it's intellectual or rational. Part of it's reading your culture, reading the audience correctly. That's why older filmmakers probably find it hard to do films, since the audience is very young for comedy in general.
I have to ask, what's happening on Ghostbusters 3?
Just talked to Aykroyd. The writer's about to turn in a script.
Is this the first draft?
We've seen a few drafts. I ended up writing the story of the movie with them. And then Ivan and Danny and I have been giving them input all along the way. When the script is right, the casting process will begin. If they can get the right new Ghostbusters, I'm sure they'll make the movie.
So how much room is there in the idea for our Ghostbusters?
The old guys?
Yeah.
We'll mentor the young guys.
Okay.
You know.
How did you guys come up with Ghostbusters?
That came right out of Aykroyd's imagination. After Blues Brothers, he wanted to come up with a bunch of other stuff that he and Belushi could do together. So the original script he wrote by himself. In the near future, I think he said it in 2012 or something. the random mesh of microwave transmission is of sufficient density to have worn a hole in our reality envelope.
Okay.
And interdimensional beings were entering our world through that hole.
Awesome.
Calling for the new indispensable defense science, Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
In fact, there were Ghostbuster franchises all around. The heroes of his script were one of numerous Ghostbuster teams.
Yeah.
When I was asked to join the project, Ivan and I kind of had the simultaneous notion that it's now, there are no Ghostbusters, we invent it, the phenomena are just starting to happen, and we thought the audience would love to see the origin of the business.
Yeah.
You know, if everything's already happening at the beginning, as in Danny's script, you know, the audience has no way to ramp up to belief, you know.
Yeah.
Even having a skeptical character like Bill.
Yeah.
To be convinced. And by the time he's convinced, the audience is convinced.